Do you know someone who has hepatitis C? A lot of stigma around the disease. It used to be the case that it was extremely difficult to become well with Hep C. It is hepatitis. What is it?
Hepatitis Week.
Hepatitis Week. Stuart Loveday joins us. He's CEO of Hepatitis New South Wales. I don't know whether to put in there whether it's Awareness Week or the exact title. We've just got Hepatitis Week, have we, Stuart?
Good morning, Wendy. Good morning, Robbie. It is Hepatitis Awareness Week, and that ends this coming Sunday, which is World Hepatitis Day, 28th of July.
Gotcha. Okay. As I say, in the old days, letting people know that you had Hep C, there was a real stigma attached to it, wasn't there?
There was, and that stigma remains, unfortunately.
Does it?
Yes, and it is one of the major barriers that stops people from accessing these fantastic new treatments and cures which are available.
Okay, I mean, because the Hep C treatment story is a really good news story. It's one of those great moments in history where you've had a disease that's caused all manner of pain and death to people, suddenly becoming fully treatable and assisted by the PBS too, isn't it?
Totally, yes. It's very, very rare that a chronic health condition can be cured and can be eliminated, and that's what we're actually heading towards for hepatitis C. World Health Organization has a target year of 2030. New South Wales has chosen a target year of 2028. We are relatively well on the way, and we are making progress towards that elimination, but it is a challenge. And we've reached the kind of easy to reach, easy to engage people, and we are busy reaching the easy to reach but hard to engage. But there's a whole group of people out there who are hard to reach, hard to engage.
Do you know you'd have it? Do you know that you'd be living with it?
You would likely know only from having a test. And there's a lot of confusion around the tests, even in the medical profession. There's an antibody test, which just shows you've been exposed to Hep C in the past. But there's what they call a PCR or an HCV RNA test that actually tests for presence of the virus. That's the marker. Yeah.
All right, well, tell us how you contract hepatitis C and what effects it has on the health.
Hepatitis C is pretty well exclusively a blood-borne virus. It's transmitted when the blood of a person living with Hep C gets into the bloodstream of another person. Now, the main way that happens is where people share equipment used to inject drugs. Another way is through unsterile tattooing or unsterile body piercing. Another way, a much smaller percentage, is people who were born overseas in countries of high prevalence where medical procedures are not what they should be, so no single-use equipment as we have in Australia. And the group of people who we're targeting now in New South Wales specifically are people who inject drugs.
Right, okay.
Because elimination of transmission is the current goal.
Okay. And so, yes, what effect does it have on the body?
Hep C, for the overwhelming majority of people, has no effect in the first 10, 15, 20 years.
Oh, wow.
When you're in your middle age, you start feeling really tired, your liver might start hurting. And hepatitis, we're aware, is inflammation of the liver. And over time, it leads to advanced liver disease, cirrhosis. This is untreated. It can lead to cirrhosis of the liver in about 25% of cases, and early death. And liver transplants are incredibly expensive and difficult things to undergo.
We have Rob from Wollongong on the line who has got a good story for us. G'day, Rob.
G'day, Wendy. Yeah, look, I just rang up to encourage people if they've got Hep C. That I got Hep C in 1976, travelling through Southeast Asia using intravenous drugs, and I had Hep C from all those years up until this year when the Hep C treatment program started, and I'm now free and clear of hepatitis C in my liver, and I think it's wonderful, and I would encourage everybody to, because it's a very simple procedure, and it doesn't hurt, and look at me.
Yeah, did you ever think that would be the case, Rob? That you'd be clear of it?
No, I never did. Not at all.
And talking about the stigma there, Rob, did you feel that you couldn't tell some people? Did you feel judged by others?
Oh, look, of course, Wendy, that there is that element to the situation, but if you're going to let something like that prevent you from recovering from something like this, I think you're being very foolish.
Well, good on you. We're glad to hear that you're all clear. Excellent.
Yeah, and everyone else who's got it, go and get sorted. 'Cause it's really easy.
Stuart's listening to that going, yes. Stuart Loveday is with us this morning. He's the CEO of Hepatitis New South Wales.
You're smiling very broadly. What is the treatment exactly?
It's a direct-acting antiviral treatment. So it's really easy to take. It's orally taken. It's pills only. It's either 3 pills a day for 8 weeks or 1 pill a day for 12 weeks.
That's all. That's amazing.
That's it. Really easy to take. Second big advantage is, unlike the old treatments, which were injectable interferon-based treatments, these are orally taken, but there are either no side effects or very minimal side effects.
That is amazing.
Maybe a bit of nausea.
So it's got to be bloodborne. The sexually transmitted is not common for Hep C?
It's certainly not common.
Right.
It can take place in the sexual context with
Right.
particular groups of people.
Yeah, okay.
Gay men,
Yep.
drug use,
Yep.
multiple partners, etc., etc.
Yeah.
But for the overwhelming majority of people, it is blood to blood.
Okay. I was going to say that you're almost out of a job, Stuart, but you're looking after a couple of other strains of hepatitis as well. Hep B and Hep A, how are we going with those?
Hep A is not a public health concern.
Sure, yep.
There are small outbreaks every now and then,
Yep.
and that's the fecal-oral transmission route. Hep B is a major problem, and I would say right now, with the good effort going into hepatitis C, hepatitis B is the next one in waiting.
And what is the difference between the two of them or the three of them?
The main difference is the routes of transmission.
Okay. What about B?
The route of transmission, overwhelmingly for people living in Australia and throughout the rest of the world with hepatitis B, is vertical transmission from mother to baby. So unless that transmission cycle, which is passed down from pretty well generation to generation, unless that's broken by a very effective vaccine or immunisation program, which it has been in Australia, then it just keeps on transmitting. The community's hepatitis effects are different for hepatitis B. Mostly Hep B affects people who have moved to Australia from countries of very high prevalence. China, Vietnam, Indonesia, the Pacific Islands in particular.
And so can you get it if it's not transmitted through a parent?
You can, yes. It's a bloodborne virus as well.
Right.
It's transmitted where people share injection equipment, and it's also sexually transmitted.
It is, right.
But the biggest difference around hepatitis B and hepatitis C is there is a vaccine for hepatitis B. There is a treatment for hepatitis B, but there's no cure as yet. But there is this fantastic cure, and when I say cure, I mean 95% plus for people with hepatitis C.
Okay, we have got a couple of questions here. Sally is looking after some foster children. G'day, Sally.
Oh, hi, how are you?
Good, thank you. You've got a question for Stuart, do you? Stuart Loveday is here. He's the CEO of Hepatitis New South Wales.
Thanks, Wendy. Look, just in regards to transmission and testing from parents to children, we were recently advised, well, when we first were looking at having the children tested, that to have the test done under 12 months, but then I had advice that we should actually wait until they were 2 years of age because antibodies can show up, which doesn't necessarily give an accurate reading. I just wanted to clarify about when you're having children tested, what age you should do so and what tests you should be asking for.
Okay, thanks for that, Sally.
Hi, Sally. Are you talking about hepatitis B or hepatitis C?
Hepatitis C.
C.
C. Treatments are available really only for people who are over 18 currently, although we think that is changing quite soon. So there is really nothing that you can do for children who have hepatitis C. And remember that transmission is very difficult. Hep C is not transmitted casually through sharing eating utensils or laundry facilities or swimming pools or hugging or kissing or anything like that.
Okay.
It's a bloodborne virus. So I would chat with your doctor and also phone the hepatitis info line, which is available through the website hep.org.au. and have a chat with the experts who can tell you that amount of detail. But I would say there is no cause for alarm at all. It is very unlikely your children will have hepatitis C.
Thank you very much indeed for that, Stuart. And thank you, Sally. Well, Stuart, we wish you happy Hepatitis Week. It doesn't
roll off the tongue quite naturally, does it? But thank you for sharing it.
People, so many texts here saying, isn't medical science awesome?
It is pretty wonderful, but whatever you do in terms of funding, and it is funded by the PBS, and whatever you do in terms of medical science, human behaviour is the funny old thing.
Yeah.
So taking action, finding out information, and if you've got Hep C, going for that treatment, going for that cure is absolutely the thing to do. It's very easy, and it will change your life.
Good stuff. Thank you, Stuart. Stuart Loveday, who's the CEO of Hepatitis New South Wales.
Keep up to date with ABC Radio.
Local stories.
Local news.
Local programs.
On your radio, on your mobile and online 24/7.
Get all the latest with ABC Radio. Anywhere, anytime.